morning. It's Wednesday, October 1st, International Coffee Day. Again, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why it's this day and it was just the other day. It's also CD player day. That's the one we're going to go with. It's CD player day. Kids, CD players were these things that I don't know. I don't know how they worked, but they played music. CDs were easily scratchable, and they skipped if you took too loud of a breath near them. They were awesome. And now the news. Starting with the national budget. I am recording this before midnight. Well, I'm writing this before midnight, but I'll end up recording it before midnight, though only just barely because I am burning the candle at both ends, which is where I thrive. But as I write this, which is weird too, because now I'm reading this. Now I'm reading this and recording this, and now it's still before midnight. It's weird to, whatever. Anyway, I don't want to mess my brain up right now. Anyway, it's still before midnight is what I'm trying to get at. And we're still pre-shutdown, but there is no hope of getting out of this shutdown. And by the time you hear this, we'll be in the shutdown. Tuesday saw back-to-back Senate votes, one in support of the Democrats' budget and one in support of the Republicans' budget. They both failed. And then the Senate decided, we tried. We gave it our best medium shot. And then they packed it up for the night with the White House Office of Management and Budget issuing a memo to executive branch agencies telling them to, quote, execute their plans for an orderly shutdown, end quote. I want to remind you that nobody came into Tuesday in a good mood, ready to party negotiation style, because Trump posted a racist AI-generated video of Jeffries and Schumer, and then on Tuesday, Trump posted another video. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's just, we gotta laugh our way through the pain. Trump posted another video. This time, Jeffries is the one talking. They're all bad, and it didn't help anything. Today is day one of the government shutdown. Let's see what happens from here. And moving to Quantico, where Pete Hegseth called generals and admirals from all over the world to fat shame our military and say, thank goodness we're not doing woke anymore. Ooh, where to start? Well, I don't cuss on this show, so my options are limited, and isn't that super classy? Yeah, we're going to talk about the whole thing, kind of. Let's start with what Pete Hegseth said. He talked about a lot of things. We're going to cover some of it. He talked about his book, Pete Hegseth's book. Don't buy it, but he did pitch it to people. He talked about how bullying is back, baby. He talked about how words like toxic, hazing, and bullying have, quote, been weaponized and bastardized. He said, quote, no more frivolous complaints, no more anonymous complaints, no more repeat complaints, no more smearing reputations, no more endless waiting, no more legal limbo, no more sidetracking careers, no more walking on eggshells, end quote. No more any of it, I guess. Just if you do something wrong, you're good to go. And if you want to say somebody did something wrong, have you thought about not? He also said, quote, for too long we've promoted too many uniform leaders for the wrong reasons, based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts, end quote. For example, we've got this guy that's the head of the so-called Department of War, and he super sucks, and that's a so-called first, and his name is Pete Hegseth. No. Also, there are no gender quotas or anything like that. I want to be very clear about that. That doesn't exist. He's lying. I know that's shocking, and I hate to break your heart to all my Hegseth heads out there that are listening because they love Pete Hegseth. I hate to bum you out, but he lied. He also said, quote, no more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses, no more. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Hang on. I got to go back. I don't like this man. I just don't like this man. Let me start all over again. Couldn't say that without commenting because it's super homophobic, transphobic, all the phobics. He's just all the phobics. He's all the bads, you know? Let me go back. Let me start all over again. Quote, no more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses, no more climate change worship, no more division, distraction, or gender delusions. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that. And then it's an S word. It's probably stuff, right? I think the S stands for stuff. He's a classy guy. He probably wasn't going to say another word that starts with an S. Also, I like that he was like, no more division. I say in this super divisive speech where I make a lot of people who just happen to live lives that are different than my own, but I don't have an imagination or good in my little corazon, so I can't imagine lives that are different than my own. So those people are not feeling good right now in this speech, but there will be no more division in this divisive speech that I'm giving. Okie doke. And don't worry, we are making America safe again. They are getting back to male standards. You know how everybody feels really safe when things are at male standards all the time? Women know what I'm talking about. You know? Quote, at my direction, each service will ensure that every requirement for every combat MOS, which stands for military occupational specialty, for every designated combat arms position returns to the highest male standard only, because this job is life or death. Standards must be met, end quote. And then he said, and if women can't make it, bummer. No, well, almost. Quote, if women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. It will also mean that weak men won't qualify because we're not playing games. This is combat. This is life or death, end quote. Yeah, dude, that's what training is for, to make sure that you are able to serve regardless of gender. That's what training is for. You didn't come up with some radical idea. You're not a smart man. You didn't come up with anything. You're adding hate on top of a system that was working, and probably now, because you're here mucking it up with your grub hands, it probably won't work as well. We are also apparently now back into the business of war crimes. Great. Quote, we unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our war fighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country. No more politically correct and overbearing rules of engagement, end quote. Hey, that's the Geneva Convention, just so you know. There are rules of engagement. There are plenty of movies about it. Some of them are rom-coms that just have clever titles. And some of them are movies about war. Some of them are not movies, but they are books, very serious books about how the Geneva Convention and rules of engagement keep us safe here in America, keep our soldiers safe. I'm getting heated just remembering all the things he said. I hated it because, listen, have these thoughts, whatever. Have your dumb, quite frankly, dumb thoughts. Whatever. That's for a political I actually don't have your dumb thoughts, please. They're very dangerous. But if you're gonna have them, that's for a political convention, or like you getting together with your dumb friends in a garage and being like, the Geneva Convention is a bad idea, and also Geneva, isn't that just the country in the Princess Diaries? Those movies are good. You don't get to spend my money, my tax dollars, your tax dollars to fly admirals and generals from all over the country, putting our country at risk by putting everyone in one place and then telling the world about it. Hey, everybody's here. Nobody's in all these other places. Everybody's in one place. That was just remembering that was a really dumb thing to have done. All to do a political speech and advocate for doing illegal and unethical war crimes. And then on top of it, being very sexist and racist and homophobic on top of all of it. And just big, lame, too. Super lame. All of it, ooh, bad. I'm going to get better at the end. I promise we're going to leave on an up, but I'm newly remembering how much I hated this speech. Trump also spoke at this convention. Yeah, so when I was ramping up to something, it was because the convention wasn't over yet. Hegseth, his stuff was bad, and then it got worse somehow, impossibly. Trump also spoke at the convention. It was a 75-minute speech, and I could go on and on about the dumb things he said. The wars that he claims to have settled, the so-called dunks on Democrats that he thinks he made. He did something about how everyone loves his signature. We're all big fans of his signature and certainly not confused by the amount of letters in it. His rambling was rambles. It was incoherent at times. It was classic. Classic what you want in a president, and definitely somehow different than what everyone was worried about with Joe Biden, for sure. We should be fine with what we're seeing in this guy. Let's not be worried when we see him just like ramble. The man's posting AI videos of something called a med bed, which is a bed that you lay in it and it cures everything. It regrows limbs that have been amputated. You lay in this bed. This is a real thing. I want you to picture a bed that you lay in and you have lost a limb due to amputation, and then when you lay in the bed, it regrows that limb. Very obviously, this is something that doesn't exist. Trump, the other day, reposted an AI-generated video that made it look like a Fox News segment selling med beds, and it was on his account for like 90 minutes. A segment that fake saying that all Americans were going to get this because he thought it was real. But we're not worried about him. Keep him in office. Let's do 7 terms for him. Anyway, we're going to focus up. Hey, stop distracting me. Hey, focus up. So Trump was on stage. In many ways, it was what we call a classic from Trump. But in many ways, it was a standout. And like I said, I promise I'm going to find a way to put the old here's what's happening spin on it, whatever that means. But first, we got to do the old here's what's happening serious voice, because it is serious. I was doing bits, I'm trying to, I'm very stressed out by this speech. And if it sounds like I'm doing jokes, it's because this is the manic voice of somebody that was very stressed out by this speech. It's serious that Pete Hegseth told troops that war crimes are back. But what Trump said, vision that he laid out, is genuinely chilling. It is sinister. It is straight out of a How to Be an Authoritarian audiobook. He told this group that gathered to treat American cities as training grounds because there was, quote, a war from within. Literally, this is a quote of him talking about American cities. Quote, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war too. It's a war from within, end quote. He also said, quote, America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms, end quote. Trump, whose father paid to get him out of serving in Vietnam, who has called soldiers that died fighting for this country suckers and losers, who questioned why someone would even sign up for the military in the first place, asking, quote, what's in it for them, who doesn't want wounded warriors in the first rows of his events because, quote, nobody wants to see that. This is the guy who stood before hundreds of career service members and told them that there is a domestic enemy with whom they are at war, who these career service members must now fight. It is terrifying, but I need you to understand something. Trump is temporary. I know it doesn't feel like it, but this moment is not forever, and this man is not forever. This moment will pass. And while some of the people in attendance on Tuesday may have voted for him, they all took a vow. They took an oath to uphold the Constitution. Their loyalty lies with the Constitution, not a political party. The oath is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, bear true faith and allegiance to the U.S., and obey the lawful orders of the President and other appointed officers. Lawful orders. Trump is many things. He is a joke. He is a buffoon. He's got that big loser energy stored in those long ties. Maybe that's why they got to be so long. However, the more he does things like he did on Tuesday, the clearer it becomes that he poses a domestic threat to this country. Yes, he is their dictator-in-chief, and yes, there are many who appear to have taken an oath to Trump, but these military members did not. And as we continue down this very dangerous road, have faith in this. There are many great things about this country, and you can feel however you need to feel about specific wars and the actions of our military in certain eras. But when push comes to shove, the protection of this nation, at times when we have needed it the most, when our lives have depended on it, we have always been the ones who have saved ourselves. And part of the way that we have done that is our military. Trump is temporary. This moment is temporary. Here's the deal. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, all those tomorrows are going to come anyway. And we can choose optimism or not. That is your choice. That is a personal choice that we all have to make. And by the way, it fluctuates. Day to day, moment to moment, second to second, Trump speech to Trump speech, it changes. We can choose optimism or not. But if we choose optimism, it makes the fight a little bit easier. And if we're choosing optimism, if we're choosing to have faith in the people who signed up to be of service to this nation, to spend their lives in service of something greater than themselves within an organization built with the belief that this country is great and its tomorrows are worth enough to protect. And have faith that on Tuesday, when they watched a man who paid to never have to serve his nation ask them to turn against American citizens, they recognized that absolutely small, petty, and angry man for who he is, remembered their oath, and thought to themselves, I am better than this. And why are your ties so long? Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. If we're going to get the tomorrows anyway, I'm going to choose blind, naive faith and optimism. Because, I don't know, it's going to make me happy at least. It's going to make my days easier. And it's going to make the fight just a little bit easier. And that's it. That's the news. I'm proud of our service members. I certainly wouldn't have been able to sit through a speech that long by Trump or Hegseth, let alone both of them. That's one of many ways in which I'm not strong enough to be a service member. There are a lot of ways. That's just one of them. I'm also proud of CDs. Much less proud. Let's be real clear about that. There is a very large gap. I'm just saying that is one other thing that I am proud of. I was trying to think earlier today about the last CD that I bought, and I don't know what it was, but as I was thinking about it, I just had a really weird moment about how you never know when something is the last time you're going to do it. And then that was my afternoon. So there you go. But here we go. No matter what, no matter how many times I say it, there will never be a max, and there will never be a last time that I say, I'm proud of you.